What makes a legend? What mix of courage, inspiration, and inner strength propels an ordinary individual to make history, to stand out from the rest of the populace, shape the world around them, become heroes or villains? I am Funky Monkey. Come with me now as we leave the House of Love behind and enter a new realm, the House of Legends.
Well, hey there Internet, and welcome to my House of Legends. Today we return to the most outrageous legend of them all, Aquaman, and discover what the new King of Atlantis did next.
Released in 2023, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom returns to the story of Arthur Curry, now King of Atlantis, while juggling his duties as father to a new baby, only for his world to come crashing down because of Black Manta and a terrible new power that could spell doom for both worlds. This was the last of the DCEU movies, as the universe is set to be rebooted with a new Superman movie in July 2025.
And once again, this one's a first watch. So with that said, come with me now on another outrageous globe-trotting adventure with the King of Atlantis. The House of Legends presents Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
It's 4 years later, and the King of Atlantis has an heir. And while politics was never Arthur's strong suit, family and occasional adventures keep boredom at bay. But there's trouble brewing in the Arctic, as a hungry monster disrupts a survey mission, leading Black Manta to a new power. The Black Trident, lost relic of a forgotten kingdom. We'll explain as we go, but for now, I'll start by saying that this is a very dangerous weapon, one which leads to an ancient technology with a dangerous power source. Orichalcum, an incredibly powerful fuel source, which emits a level of greenhouse gases that would give Captain Planet nightmares. Sealed away in vaults after the fall of Necrus, Lost Kingdom of Atlantis. And why did it fall? Stay tuned to find out. And with this new power, Black Manta goes looking for trouble in Atlantis. As you can imagine, this is a serious matter. Serious enough that the Royal Council are considering stripping our hero of executive power. But Aquaman is listening now, and he's got a plan. Arthur turns to the only other Atlantean to have had dealings with Black Manta, his half-brother Orm, who isn't too happy about being broken out of prison, though a lot happier about returning to the water. And so our heroes go looking for information. The Sunken Citadel, an underwater haven for pirates of the modern age. Not the kind of place that Aquaman, who prides himself on busting pirate heads, would really be welcome. Still, they get what they need. And on to Devil's Deep, stronghold of Black Manta, which has already felt the kiss of Orichalcum.
And this seems like a great time to remind you that comments will be moderated, so save your snark.
This is also an excellent time to tell you all about Dr. Stephen Shin, who appeared in the first movie as someone who theorized Atlantis, but never found much in the way of evidence. He found a wounded Black Manta at the end of the first movie, and made a deal to help Manta destroy Aquaman in exchange for evidence of Atlantis. Only, throughout this movie, as Manta has grown more insane from the Black Trident, Shin has had second thoughts, leading to Shin himself touching the trident, and seeing the horrors that may be to come. Which is just as well, when he chances upon our heroes. But the moment is short-lived, because Black Manta has given in to the power of the Black Trident. And at last, it is time to reveal the truth of the Lost Kingdom of Atlantis. There are 6 kingdoms we know of, but there was a 7th kingdom, Necrus, who used Orichalcum to become a superpower even among Atlantean kingdoms. But Orichalcum took a terrible toll, not just on the environment, but on the mind of its king, Kordax, brother of the legendary King Atlan, and for their sins, Necros was stricken from Atlantean record, so that none would ever again fall prey to this horror. Arthur had help from the King of Zebel, whose forces fire on the island, which isn't enough to stop Black Manta. Kordax forged the Black Trident, using its power to transform the citizens of Necros into monsters. Atlan waged war on Necros, and in its fall, imprisoned Kordax in an ice spell cast with Atlan's own blood. Thus, one of Atlan's bloodline would be needed to free Kordax, and Cain isn't strong enough to draw blood from Arthur or his half-brother. But there's one other royal that carries Atlan's DNA.
Folks, take a tip from your humble host. If your plan involves kidnapping an infant to use its blood in your profane ritual, you've gone too far.
And so to Antarctica, and our finale. Black Manta blows his way into the frozen halls of Necros. And it's a fight from the start. But while the Atlanteans are busy defending themselves, Junior isn't entirely helpless, leading Aquaman to the final round with Black Manta. So why are we skipping the final battle with Kordax? Well, not because of YouTube for once, but more because there's no real battle to speak of. Arthur talks Orm out of holding on to his bitterness, Kordax catches his trident but then gets wiped out by Atlans, Necros crumbles, our heroes escape, all within about 5 minutes. And so our movie ends with Orm finally seeing who the one true King of Atlantis is, as Atlantis petitions to join the UN.
So then, that was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And no, it's not the first movie all over again. Not quite anyways. But I'm still going to put it into the House of Legends.
This movie is another outrageous adventure for Arthur Curry and his entire family, while navigating much weightier issues around the edges. And with the inclusion of Orm, it's much more of a buddy movie, as the two brothers bicker among themselves on the way to saving the world. But let's get to the performances. And much as Jason Momoa is playing Jason Momoa in this role, it speaks entirely to the movie that he's not out of place as the meathead that lucked into the throne of the lost underwater nation. And while Amber Heard's Mera is a much slighter presence for real-world reasons, she still acquits herself well. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's David Kane Black Manta doesn't have a lot to work with, whilst Randall Park's Stephen Shin is merely a succession of worried faces, and occasional astoundings, which only leaves Patrick Wilson, who does deliver a performance, from resentful, to grumpy, to finally accepting of his brother's seat-of-your-pants style. And this movie flows well, even as we flick between hero and villain, following along with the creeping realization that Black Manta is losing himself to an unearthly force, and the outrageous adventures of my favourite man of two worlds. So is it a perfect movie? Almost. It's certainly not doing anything adventure movies haven't done before, and it does feel somewhat generic as we shift from set piece to set piece, and the villain gains cheap heat for kidnapping the hero's baby son, and the swift dispatching of the real villain seems somewhat of a cop-out to me, even as I understand the desire to not fatigue the viewer with another fight scene. But the most important thing about this movie is that it's fun. Another big action-packed adventure where the meat-headed brawler bashes bad guys and saves the day, even as he learns how to make a speech and deal with advisors and politicians. And like the Suicide Squad before it, it is one hell of a ride. In fact, I recommend that you check it out right after you finish watching this video.
So I'd better keep this short. I've been Funky Monkey, inviting you to start your own legend. And hey, don't be afraid to be outrageous. So long, folks.
Yeah! 'Tis I, Captain Patmos Redbeard, and I invite ye tonight the ritual of liking, commenting, and subscribing. And if ye've doubloons to spare, send them the way of Master Funky Monkey via yonder Patreon. And if ye care not for any of this, you're lucky that I aren't around to keel haul ye. Fair winds, shipmates.